The Register of Deeds. You've likely heard of this government office, but have you ever been to the office? Chances are you don't even know all the things that the government office can do for you, which is why Jeff Thigpen from the Register of Deeds in Guilford County is joining us today to answer your questions. Now, this is how you get your question answered, and you get it to our expert for today. You text us that question. The number is 336-379-5775. Make sure you text it to us instead of calling us. This is how we get those questions there. Okay, so first and foremost, you do all kinds of things as the Register of Deeds. For people who don't even know what that office is, kind of give them an explanation, the 101.
Yeah, most people don't know what I do until they get married, they have a child, they buy a house, they have a loved one or someone who gets out the military, or they have the death of a loved one. And you don't always see us, but we are here at some very important parts of your life. And we are record keepers, and we are also distributors of marriage licenses and birth certificates and death certificates, and we have some value-added programs I can talk about as well.
All right, well, let's just start with the birth certificates. What should parents know about a birth certificate when they have a child? I think they know everything, but they probably don't.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you are about to have a child, a baby, or you've had a baby, we got you covered. When you're at the hospital or with the person who helps you give birth and that kind of thing, whether it's a midwife, you go through a process of course, filling out the birth certificate. That goes to the health department, and it eventually goes to North Carolina Vital Records and the Register of Deeds office. And so we know in that situation, the first few days after having a child, you are tired. And so if y'all want to get that birth certificate within a few days, you can go online to our website and order it there, and we get it to you and fill it that day. People need birth certificates all the time. They need them for kindergarten. So when children get to be about 4 years old, you're going to have to come down and see us or order one online, and we'll have it for you. We'll get it for you. If you need a job, if you have youth sports, if you need to add someone to your insurance, a loved one to your insurance, you need those kinds of documents in order to be able to prove your alive birth.
Right.
And so we keep it.
Okay. All right. So let's go from, one extreme to the other. How about the death certificate process? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah. Usually what happens is when there is a death, there are usually a certifier, a doctor or the medical examiner sign up on the death certificate. Within that, they work with the family usually to get the information, or the party involved with the person who's deceased, to get basic information about them. They have information on there in terms of how the person is going to be buried, that kind of thing. Usually that process takes within about 7 to 10 days. People need to get copies for the purposes of opening estates, settling insurance related issues, of proving the death. And so we have those available to us. In addition to that, sometimes there's situations where autopsies are involved. We get a lot of questions about that. While normally we get the death certificates back to us within 7 to 10 days, sometimes autopsies 3 months to a year, and but they also distribute temporary death certificates in those situations.
All right, so we've got a couple of a graphic that talks about the reasons to get that death certificate, and you said a few of those about that you need to prove death or for benefit changes, that kind of thing. And so would they go to your office, or is that also something that is online?
It's online. Usually what happens is a number of situations that funeral homes work with the families around ordering them. And so we have close relationships with funeral homes. We also, again, they can be ordered online, and/or a person can come in and order them from our office.
Okay, and when it comes to the birth certificates or even the death certificates, is it something, because, like you said, insurance will need them and that kind of stuff. You never want to send your own personal original copy. So you need to get copies of those certificates from you. You can't just photocopy them for a lot of those things.
Right, they come with certification paper, safety paper. And they carry legal weight when they come from our office. And we do have uncertified copies, and you can get an uncertified copy from office for a nickel. But the regular birth, death, certified marriage licenses are $10. And they look for our seal to validate it.
All right, so someone has a question about the birth certificate. They say, how do I get a copy of my own birth certificate? If you're in Guilford County, you can get it through them, but if not, what do they have to do?
Well, if they're in Guilford County, they can come to us. They can go to North Carolina Vital Records. There is a state vital system that is used to be able to order them as well, and so we can help you through that process. Quick number 336-641-7556, and we can talk about the particulars of that situation with the person.
Yeah, because that person says, my mom's never seen her birth certificate and she was born in Durham, so that NC Vitals would be helpful for that. But if you were born outside of North Carolina, you'd have to go to another state to be able to track your birth certificate down.
Absolutely, and each state has different laws and different institutions that deal with that. Some of them it's run by the state, some of it's more localized.
Okay.
And sometimes that can be kind of cumbersome.
All right, and we've got a few questions about changing birth certificates and names and things of that nature. We're going to get to that and some of the other questions that are coming into the queue. You can continue to text us your questions. We'll be right back.